Hi, this is Garibay, and today I'm going to talk about Thor Ragnarok. This content contains major spoilers for the movie Thor Ragnarok. And here we go. I'm going to give a countdown. 1, 2, 3, and go. All right, this movie was epic. 5 out of 5 star movie. It had some major problems, but it brought so much to the movie itself, and I think it did things that are going to fundamentally change the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm rating it 5 out of 5 star movie. Okay, it really was an incredible film, absolutely incredible film. So here's what happened. So I'm going to talk about the things I liked most and the things I didn't like most, okay? I love this movie, by the way. Overall, I just absolutely love this movie, and I think its flaws are outweighed by a factor of 10 by the things that are good. Okay. All right, here's what happened to me, if you look at the film, this is what happened. Mjolnir is shattered, Thor deoculated, Asgard destroyed. Okay, so and that's why I absolutely love this movie. That's why this is a 5 out of 5 star movie. It gave me things I never ever expected to see. Okay, now I know they put the Mjolnir being destroyed in the trailer, but trailers are trash now. Like you can't trust anything in them. Half the time, half the stuff in them isn't in the film. Okay, and so. Trailers are just like, hey, here's an etching of the painting we're going to do. The other thing, it could have been a dream sequence, a million other things, right? But I was amazed that they actually destroyed Mjolnir from the gate of the movie. Like, we did get one incredible scene where Thor goes down and battles Surtur, and gives him a bloody beatdown with Mjolnir. But then Mjolnir is out of the film, which is like pretty amazing because you see Thor in a completely different light, and they really give him, you really are focused on him being the Lord of Thunder. By the way, one of the major things I did not like in this movie was them continuing to call him the God of Thunder. There's one God. I really feel, Captain America already addressed this, and I think it doesn't make sense to really dwell on him as the God of Thunder. Because Marvel's not owning that and Thor's not owning that, right? He never asked to be worshipped, right? And they've already kind of gone down this road where there's a good chance that everything in Asgard was just tech, right? So I do think he should be called the Lord of Thunder. And I think he was called the Lord of Thunder more times in the film than he was called the God of Thunder. So a few things I didn't like. All right, so this movie looked more like a comic book movie than any movie I have ever seen, ever, right? And in that, it was willing to harm its major character. It moved at an incredible pace, and it did things that looked like they belonged in a comic book, right? So, Mjolnir being shattered, Thor losing an eye, Asgard being destroyed. These are big swing for the fence, actions, right? And they're major story notes. It was really excellent, fantastic. Taika Waititi. All right, if you haven't seen What We Do in the Dark, it is a hysterically funny movie. It is an adult film, primarily. I think it is. But it's really funny, and Taika Waititi is a really smart guy, and I think he is and Marvel just continues to knock it out of the park as far as bringing really strong, unusual directors to direct their films. Taika Waititi does a fantastic job with this film. The humor in this film, it is a very funny movie. There are a lot of laugh out loud moments. By far my biggest laugh out loud moment is Thor goes into the Quinjet and he's like, and it says password. He's like, Thor, and he's like, Thor, the strongest Avenger, and he keeps going through, and then he has to think what Tony Stark would have said it to, and the Quinjet password is set to Point Break, and I just laughed out loud. I bust out laughing because I thought that was hysterical. So it was just really, really funny. So it was a really fun movie. And it had great new characters, and it was really amazing. So you have, and the other thing is the idea of Asgard being destroyed. And I understand that he's saying Asgard isn't a place, it's wherever our people stand. And then they kind of changed it to Asgard isn't a place, it's a people. That's very interesting to me, particularly as an evangelical Christian. I'm not sure if all you guys know exactly where that lines up, but that's a really, really interesting lineup. Very interesting lineup. But it was really fascinating. So I think what they're going to do is in the Marvel comic books, they actually set up Asgard in the middle of Omaha, right? And it's a really incredible storyline. It's one of the best storylines ever told in Marvel, and I think it'd be really cool if they do that, right? So the other thing is the Thor movies, like you look at I look at Thor Ragnarok and I realize what were we, I like Thor 2 a lot. The Dark Kingdom, I think it really did a lot to bring out who and what Loki was. But when you look at Thor Ragnarok, you get the feeling, oh my gosh, we just got started with this character. I really am excited about Thor Ragnarok, and I thought it's a great story. And I really think there's a lot of respect for the comic books in there, and there's even recent comic book material is being incorporated here. So really, really fascinating. I think, it really was tremendous. All right, so I want to talk about the new characters that are... So let's talk about the regular characters that are in it real quick. So Thor's in there. He's fantastic. We did get to see his 3 warriors. I don't think we got to see Sylph. Or Syl. I don't think we saw Syl. But we did get to see Volstagg and some of the other warriors. They all got slain by Hela. By the way, so let's knock them out real quick. So Thor, Chris Hemsworthy, and Cate Blanchett as Hela. She just is amazing as Hela. Let's talk about Hela for a minute. One of the best parts of the film was when Hela comes down, they're like, Hela, hi, I'm Hela. I'm the Queen of Death, right? I don't mess around. I hurt people, right? And so she does. She smashes Mjolnir in like the first 2 minutes on screen, and then she just starts killing people left and right, man. She's absolutely merciless, incredibly powerful. Carl Urban as Scourge, her main assistant, her executioner, fantastic. He did a really good job. Carl Urban is a really interesting guy. I think he's very talented, but every time I see him, I really feel like, somebody else could have played that role. But actually, the other thing is, you know what? I think Carl Urban did great in this. I think I'm like a lot of people. I don't know where to put Carl Urban. I think he's really talented, but he's very, very talented guy. And honestly, I think there are sometimes in movies, there are roles where you need to get out of the way, and you need to not be another thing that's sucking up energy and space from the film. And I think Scourge did that role, and Carl Urban, he did a great job. I'm really glad he was in here because I am a fan of him. I thought the Dredd he did was the best Dredd film ever done by far. He did a really good job on that. I really like his work in the Star Trek films. I am a fan of Carl Urban, but yeah, it's just challenging. So, all right, you had Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. Oh my goodness. Now, you know what? Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, because we got to talk about Hulk in a minute, right? All right, so he's in here. Mark Ruffalo did a fantastic job as Banner. He really did a fantastic job as Banner. And it was really nice to see Banner for extended periods of time not being the Hulk, which was really fun and really cool. All right, I think that's all the major... Fenrir, the Wolf, played by Wolf, I guess. It was awesome. Fenrir was fantastic. Really, really enjoyed him in the film. And I'd like to see him in other movies. All right, so let's talk about the new people. All right, Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie. Fantastic addition to Thor Ragnarok. Scrapper 142, great character, absolutely awesome. Awesome introduction. really, really cool. I just thought the way they introduced her, the way they had her on Sycorax, all of it was awesome. Grandmaster, Jeff Goldblum, fantastic. Could not have been done by, I think, perfect actor for the role. Really delivered it, and I'm just really thrilled to see Jeff Goldblum. I'm a big fan of the Goldblum resurgence. I like seeing him in more movies. I think he's incredibly talented. He did a fantastic job in this film, and I was really happy to see him. Korg was my favorite character in the movie until I found out who voiced him. Okay, all right. So Korg was he's made out of all stone. He's the leader of the revolution on Sycorax, and he's a gladiator that fights. That he's like who does the open. He's like the opening band for Hulk the Gladiator, right? Kind of interesting. So Korg was a great character. He was really funny. He was really used very well in the film. But I thought he was voiced by Rhys Darby, right? And I'm a huge fan of Rhys Darby. And, and so I was really like, oh yeah, so you had Rhys Darby, but he wasn't voiced by Rhys Darby. And I had to, and I had to wrap my brain around that, where I was like, okay, actually, you know what, Scott, not everybody who speaks with a New Zealand accent is the same guy. And it was Taika Waititi. Now, here's my issue with that. I think that was a major mistake. Rhys Darby would have done Korg way better, okay? And then the other thing is Taika Waititi, I think he's done being a character actor. I think he's done doing like little funny skits. He is an incredibly talented major director, and I think there's times where you got to realize you got to step back, and the idea of him doing motion capture and a bunch of other junk while he's directing a big budget film like this, I think it was a mistake. I think he should have used Rhys Darby. Rhys Darby would have been a lot better. I would have been a lot more excited about Rhys Darby being Korg, and I think, just overall, it would have been better for everybody involved if Korg had been voiced by Rhys Darby. But I will say, I don't not have any respect for Taika Waititi's turn as Korg. I think that was a mistake, but I have incredible respect for Taika Waititi as a director. I think he's a really unusual type of director. I think we're going to get some really unusual types of movies from him. I'm really excited that he's on the scene. I would like to see 10 years of like incredible blockbusters being made by Taika Waititi. He's really, really smart, talented guy. I'm really glad that his talent has been recognized at a major level, and I'm a little bit sad that Rhys Darby was not in this film voicing Korg. With that said, okay. Last, I do need to talk about the elephant in the room, which is the Thor Hulk fight. Utter trash. Worst part of the movie by far. I am a little wound up about this. Do not put Thor and Hulk on the screen, have them fight, and come out with no winner. That stinks. So it was a tie. All you need to do is, you don't need to kill anybody. Nobody needs to see that, right? But you got to have one of them knock the other one out. That's how any Major League Boxing fight, which is the iconic fight, ends. And neither one of them knocked each other out, which means that you spent 10 or 20 minutes of, seeing Thor and Hulk knock each other around. And that's not what I'm there for. When you put two superheroes in a ring, this is now a Hollywood trope. Let's take our biggest characters, let's have them fight, let's interrupt it, and not get to a finish. And it really, really upsets me at this point, right? And I went in this thinking, okay, Marvel knows what they're doing. I think Hulk is going to win this, right? But he didn't. He did not knock Thor out, and Thor did not knock Hulk out. And so what was the point of that being in the movie, right? It really, really aggravated me. I still rate this a 5 out of 5 star movie, and the reason why is this is the most comic book movie that any comic book movie has ever been. And I love comics, and I love seeing comics really being lifted off the page and put directly, the energy, the pace, the humor, the fun. This movie has it, right? But whoever was the Hollywood exec that said, let's not have a winner, a clear winner between Hulk and Thor. Boo, boo, boo. It's the worst part of the film. and just really frustrating to me personally. Really did not like that part of the film. So it was not good, right? So that was a major disappointment, and the other thing that I will say right now, I will say, trailers are the worst. Trailers, the absolute worst. They're just like a big old pack of lies at this point, and again, Hollywood is awesome in delivering fun stuff to watch, but there are things that they do that are just atrocious. And so to put, it was almost physically painful for me to see my worst suspicions delivered, right? Like, I don't think it's useful to see two good guys beat the living crap out of each other for no reason. Now, if now the most fun thing in the world is to say, who would win, Batman or Captain America? It's classic, and the movies answer that with solidity. They answer it with authority, especially when the movie is made by Marvel. And so right now, there's been a question of who would win, Thor or Hulk, for 55 years. And we have no more information and no more ability to know than ever before. And man, I would like, whoever is responsible for that, man, I hope they get fired, and never work in that city again. It is just the absolute worst. Sorry. Got wound up. I really didn't like that they did that. Really wish they had fixed that. There's a ton of cool stuff that was in here. So I'm going to get back on the things I liked. It was really, really amazing. So, one of the things was getting to see the planet Sycaris. It was really interesting, this trash world where all these portals were just dumping things out, right? Also, Loki. Tom Hiddleston is Loki. Really, really fantastic job. Heimdall. Idris Elba as Heimdall. Really fantastic. It was great to see him on screen again. Great to see him with the sword to the Bifrost. Man, it was cool. It was so cool. So I went to see this movie with my son Logan. He's 10. He's junior. No, he's last year of elementary, and and we just really had a great time together. Really enjoyed the film. I highly recommend seeing this movie. It is totally worth it. I really think it is taking the universe. One of the things I think they're doing is they're saying, hey, we're going to play really fast and loose with these characters, and there are going to be changes. And so with Thor, he's now blind in one eye, and that's pretty major. That's pretty major. So Thor Ragnarok, 5 out of 5 star movie, fantastic. Taika Waititi rising up as a major new director. It's a big deal. I think just like Peele from Get Out, there's a lot of innovation that's starting to happen in Hollywood, and man, do we need it. So that's my thoughts on Thor.